morning. It is Friday, July 17th, 2015. This is your morning edition on I-24 News. Coming up later today, as the UK announces it will reopen its embassy in Tehran, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu spars with visiting Foreign Minister Philip Hammond over the Iran nuclear deal. New Horizons bring us new pictures of Pluto, the dwarf planet. And later on the show, when politics and photography mix, you get Instagram magic and the magic of Tal Shalev. We'll be here to tell us all about it. Good morning, I'm Yael Avi, and we begin here in Israel, where tensions are still high in the wake of the signing of the nuclear agreement between Iran and world powers earlier this week. UK Foreign Minister Philip Hammond, who was in the country shortly after the conclusion of the talks, was the first foreign representative to receive a tongue lashing from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for signing off on what he called a historic mistake. Netanyahu called the deal a failure of diplomacy, claiming it lifts the sanctions today and paves a path to the bomb tomorrow. He drew particular note to the fact that the agreement failed to address in any way Iran's support of Hezbollah and other terror groups in the region and its threats to destroy Israel. Hammond, who on Wednesday said that Israel wanted to maintain a permanent standoff with Iran and would not have been satisfied with any agreement, tried to assure Netanyahu and other Israelis that it was not being naive about Iran, but that the deal would at least prevent it from producing nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, UK Prime Minister David Cameron spoke on the phone yesterday to Iran's president, telling him that he was committed to reopen the British embassy in Tehran and thus begins a new Middle East. Joining me in studio is I-24 News diplomatic correspondent Tal Shalev. Good morning to you. First, though, let's listen, actually, also with us in studio, Ami Kaufman.
Good morning.
The man, the bow tie, but somebody you always want to hear what he has to say. First, though, let's listen to what the leaders being Prime Minister Netanyahu and UK Foreign Minister Philip Hammond, paying particular attention to their tone yesterday in a press conference in Israel. Let's have a listen.
And we are not naive about this. We understand that our many disputes with Iran about its regional conduct will remain and will have to be dealt with in the months and years to come. We have allowed ourselves to move on to the next stage, and we look forward to cooperating with you in ensuring that we can successfully implement this agreement and then continue to work to prevent Iranian destabilization in the region. Thank you.
You want another bounce of the ball?
Go on.
One
Prime Minister,
more bounce.
I know you're going to have the last word anyway, so you may as well go on and have
it. On the contrary. They openly call for our destruction, and they work for our destruction, which is very different from just a declaration. They surround us with missiles. They try to target us with hundreds of thousands of missiles, thousands of which have already been fired on us, Iranian missiles. So it's not just a declaration. But the interesting thing is here, that while you give them sanctions relief, you're not merely addressing, I think, in a flawed way, their nuclear file. What you're doing is also giving them hundreds of billions of dollars, which they can fuel unrestricted into their war machine, into their terror activities. That is the problem that I think accompanies this agreement.
Tal Shalev with us in studio. I mean, it was interesting to me just to see the body language of and Philip Hammond, the foreign minister, turning red. But this is clearly what the Netanyahu line. It basically is clearly the Netanyahu move, so to speak, in upcoming weeks when it comes to fighting this. Also with us, joining us from London, the UK, is Jonathan Sachadati, I-24 News contributor from the UK. Jonathan, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay, stay with us, but because I do want to hear from Tal Shalev. To me, and I'm asking this because you've been following Netanyahu for a while now, and we know this has been his mantra, but there's something almost, and I'm saying this out loud, of the strategy of fighting this deal, that when you're looking at all that has happened over the course of the last 48 hours, that Netanyahu is being painted as this lone crusader, chiming in the old, what he said over the course of the last several years, but looking even slightly, and I'm saying this almost like a madman, because he's got world leaders saying, you know, you haven't read it, don't listen to him, be it Kerry, be it Hammond the day before he comes. Is this the strategy of the Israeli administration?
Well, the strategy of the Israeli administration is to fight this deal with all power and to use any means to try and abort this deal. So that is the strategy. How smart is it to confront the world leaders? How smart it is to accuse world powers of succumbing to Iranian pressure? so early. It's one of the main points coming out of the administration, coming out of other world powers, is that it's a very, very detailed deal. It's more than 100 pages with a lot of legal clauses, with a lot of technical details. And one of the things that is angering them is the fact that Netanyahu decided in advance, he judged the agreement in advance that it's a bad deal, and there hasn't been any acknowledgement of maybe positive sides of the deal. But Netanyahu is convinced. I'm saying this, Shirley, he's convinced that this strategy will eventually lead him to gain the support of Congress and to gain the support of the Democratic senators. And he's basically the spokesperson of a multi-million-dollar campaign that is going on in the United States. I mean, the spars with the UK and also with Germany. We also heard critic from the German foreign minister earlier this week. These spars are important. They're worrying. But Netanyahu doesn't, it's not his intention now to have a public fight with European countries. His intention is focusing US. PR, and it's gaining public opinion support in the US.
Jonathan Sacerdoti, I-24 News contributor in the UK, looking at what happened yesterday, which, probably was, the most exciting press conference in a while in Israel, and possibly also for Foreign Minister Philip Hammond. But the reaction in the UK, there's a sweeping kind of support for this deal, isn't it?
Well, I'm not sure that the British people necessarily have a particular opinion on this deal, and I think that seemed to be what Mr. Netanyahu was emphasising to Mr. Hammond, that really those who are on the front line of this are not sitting in Westminster and not even in the United Kingdom at large. He emphasised the friendship of the two nations and of the foreign minister and himself, but he said that at the same time it was Israelis who were actually on that front line. So we're getting used to seeing Mr. Netanyahu at these sorts of press conferences where he's happy in public to openly disagree with allies and representative of allied countries. And there was that sort of back and forth, which, as you say, was quite extraordinary to see in that press conference situation, especially after we've watched such well-choreographed press conferences over in Vienna. This was almost something of a breath of fresh air of people actually perhaps saying what they thought to each other in front of cameras. Mr. Hammond himself said at the end, well, we've proven that you don't necessarily need journalists for a Q&A to take place in a press conference. But I think that it's fair to say that Netanyahu is expressing a clear opinion in a public way, one which is not necessarily, he pointed out, just that of Israel. He said there are other nations in the region who have similar reservations, but they so far are not acting this way and putting it forward quite so clearly. And that's the interesting thing here, is that Israel is placing itself very much in that position of being the naysayer, of being the kid in the room who says the emperor has new clothes. Has no clothes, rather. No, and I think that, in a sense, that seems to be his strategy when it comes to these public declarations. And when we look at things like the fact that it isn't just the Iranian deal, the nuclear deal that's affected by this agreement with Iran, there's also issues of who is on and off the terror lists in the United Kingdom, in Europe, and in America. We can see that Qasem Soleimani is, in fact, apparently originally denied by the US, but now off the terror individuals list. This is somebody who is effectively leading the fight to protect Bashar al-Assad. This person is now off the terror list, despite the brutal killing of many, many people in Syria, civilians as well. And we can see that this deal does touch far more than just Iran's nuclear ambitions. And that seemed to be what Mr. Netanyahu was emphasizing to Mr. Hammond, who, in his place, simply said that this deal was never meant to touch anything outside the nuclear issue, and denied, in a sense, that this is actually going to have a knock-on effect in any other department of Iran's behavior. Something which Mr. Netanyahu rather, I think, forcefully said is not the case, and he rather proved it with his suggestion that this sanctions relief and the ending of some embargoes will in fact give hundreds of millions or billions of dollars to the Iranians so that they are able to bolster their proxy wars elsewhere and their attacks on Jews in Israel around the world.
And Jonathan Jonathan Sacerdoti joining us from the UK, very informative, and thank you for that. Tal, when we're looking at, as you said, and I tend to agree that ultimately the battle for Prime Minister Netanyahu is not the UK, rather between him and the US. I don't see the United States opening an embassy in Tehran. It's not Cuba, as the UK has just promised to do. That said, it does feel as if he's cornered himself, and the Americans keep trying to, hand over something to help him get off a branch, which Netanyahu right now, is there even any kind of contact between him and the Obama administration?
Well, there's contact,
yeah, there's
okay?
contact,
there's contact. Next week, Ash Carter, Secretary of Defense, will be coming to Israel. The relationship is close. Wait, we'll talk about the compensation package now. Wendy Sherman yesterday briefed Israeli journalists. I heard her call. She had a special conference call with the National Security Advisor. There is constant contact. Sherman even praised, it was very interesting, the interesting part of the conversation was the fact that Sherman praised the Israeli contribution to the negotiations with technical details and advice, nuclear advice, nuclear technical advice. But regarding the compensation package, it's true. The Obama administration has offered in the past few months to open discussions with Israel about some kind of military compensation package that will ensure that Israel will keep and preserve its what we call QME, a qualitative military edge. This, of course, in the wake of all kinds of compensation packages that were offered also to the Gulf states. Gulf states are negotiating this kind of deal at the moment with the U.S. Today, we hear the Saudi foreign minister is in Washington. He will be meeting President Obama. This is on the table. Netanyahu refuses at this point to discuss any compensation package because he feels that will mean he has come to terms with the deal.
Right.
He will only start negotiating it after
he sees
what happens. And the question is, how bad will the blood be between the administration and the Israeli government by then, and how will the compensation package still be on the table?
As all these battles are also being waged in the U.S., obviously AIPAC are going very strong against this deal, and we are talking about an election year in the United States. So I'm assuming all of this will also play within the elections.
And just to add one point, this is creating some kind of political change here in Israel. There is growing speculation that in the wake of the Iran deal, Isaac Herzog and the Zionist Union will be joining Netanyahu's government. And that basically, just to say, will change Israel's international position quite drastically immediately when it happens, because it will be much more difficult.
And that looks like it's happening. It does?
It looks like it's happening. It might take a few more days. There are very strong denials from the Zionist Union.
Yeah,
but yes, it looks like it could be happening. There's a growing speculation that it could happen in the upcoming days or weeks.
Which makes Netanyahu's government stronger for the near future, at least.
And it also makes it much more difficult for foreign countries to attack Netanyahu. It will give him some kind of breathing, maneuvering room to maybe relaunch something with the Palestinians that could brush off some of the international pressure. It would be smart from Netanyahu's point of view to do that now.
Not so much so on the other side, but that's a different story. Tal Shalev, thank you for joining us this morning. Also, Jonathan Sachadati, sadly, all the time we have on this. Thank you for being with us this morning. Now for something entirely different and from very, very far away, from the far reaches of the solar system. Every day that goes by, we here on Earth receive new information about the distant planet Pluto. Yesterday, New Horizons high-res images revealed to scientists that Pluto has mountains made of ice and is likely to also have volcanoes and geysers. To learn more about the world of space exploration, let's first take a look at the following piece about this exciting, I'm personally very excited, sounds like a planet for me, this exciting new planet, and break it down from there.
Here's the first glimpse this morning at a part of the universe that has captured imaginations since its discovery 85 years ago. NASA's New Horizons spacecraft just sent back these first ever images of Pluto's surface. Humanity's first glimpse of the former ninth planet, the discovery part of a space odyssey that's taken 9 years and over 3 billion miles. The New Horizons vessel, the size of a piano, traveled 31,000 miles per hour as it cruised 6,000 miles away from the surface. Pluto was downgraded to a dwarf planet back in 2006, but it turns out little Pluto is bigger than anyone thought. This mission proving it's almost 1,500 miles across.
3, 2, 1.
Cheers and pride ripple through the scientific community.
This is a tremendous moment in human history.
And more excitement later today as New Horizons is expected to send back even clearer images.
Wow. Okay, we are joined in studio by systems engineer at Space.il, Yoav Lanzman, who aims himself to land the first Israeli spacecraft on the moon, right? Would you change your opinion now and try and land it on Pluto?
No, it's too far away.
Too far away?
For us.
Ami's very happy right now. Okay, first of all, extraordinary thing to see. What does it all mean? What have we learned about Pluto from this?
We haven't learned yet anything because
Yes.
it's only the first images, but we see some things that we are not quite understand. It things that may make us change our the scientists' models of how the solar system came to be.
Okay.
For example, we see the young surface of the dwarf planet.
I love that it's a dwarf planet. I'm sorry, I love that that we keep calling it the dwarf planet. Yes, small people.
They apparently found out that it's actually a little bigger than they thought, right? Like 70 kilometers wider, or
That's a very little change.
a little small change.
Small change.
Yeah,
It's a dwarfy change. Yeah, okay.
Not enough to
Yes.
make it back to a planet.
They make it big news because they want it to be
A planet
again, but it doesn't change anything.
No? I mean, what do you mean? Is it a planet or isn't it a planet?
It's not a planet because there are many other objects, some of them the size of Pluto, in the same orbit.
Okay.
So this is what changed.
Change the.
This is what make it a dwarf planet, not a planet like the other.
Like the other planets. Okay.
But it doesn't matter because Pluto doesn't care.
Has no feelings.
Has no feelings. Yeah, exactly. He's not offended by that. But when we see mountains and things like that, and I'm always, my first question is always, you know, if we see that on Pluto, does that mean there's water there? Does that mean that there was life there? Does that mean that in the future we can glean information like that about Pluto?
It doesn't says anything about life. We haven't found life, and we are not speculating in that direction yet.
Yet. Now, but we're all fascinated about this because it is space, the final frontier, whatnot. That said, over the course of the last several years, I would say NASA has lost a lot of its, you know, not credibility, but it's lost funding, it's lost the interest of people, but we're all still fascinated by this. Do you feel that the space exploration has been lost in the last several years, or that, you know, we as the human race, I'm not just talking about specific countries, are losing our interest in trying to explore those far galaxies?
I think NASA is a problem. The Americans have a problem with that because I don't know if that's because of the lack of human expeditions, but I think it's connected to that.
Right.
We want to see the human part of space exploration.
The human part of space exploration. Yeah. What about you? I mean, when we say that you are working on specifically, you know, reaching the moon, is that something that's viable in the next several years?
Viable?
Viable. Obviously, it is. But I mean, what is the process of the Israeli space, exploration programs?
Well, I don't know because we are actually a single-shot organization. I hope that it will be a start of a new direction for the Israeli Space Agency and other companies and other organizations to do things like that in order to make the education part.
The education part much bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it is fascinating to see all these things.
The joy of discovery.
I think it's getting a lot of young people fascinated. I mean, my 7-year-old is fascinated about this whole thing. I think it's just amazing that we're controlling an object that is 4.5 billion kilometers away from us right now. And it's been like that for 9 years already. And it's been perfect. Perfectly as planned for over 9 years. It's just unbelievable.
That's right.
It's unbelievable.
And there are responses to this, to this phenomenal visuals basically online. Correct, there we go, here, they're coming up. First high-resolution memes, exactly, of Pluto are disturbing. Pluto looks different than I expected.
Yeah.
Very, very sweet. What if this was a photo of Pluto? Yeah, definitely. Oh my God, the Kardashians really have to be everywhere.
There's Pluto, the real Pluto.
That's the real Pluto.
Not the real Pluto,
yeah. I wonder who names these things. Dear Earth, thanks for visiting.
I think it was like a 9-year-old girl that gave Pluto the real name, the official.
I think
in
so.
1930 or something like that, I heard.
Really?
Yeah.
Basically, she was the daughter of some scientist.
Daughter of some scientist,
like
I think, yeah.
Okay, no, that's very, very, very sweet. Dear Earthlings, thank you for not giving up on me. I know, people don't pay enough attention to
By the way, the ashes, I think the ashes of the
things.
man who named Pluto, who discovered Pluto, the ashes of the scientists are on the New Horizons. They're flying right next to Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay. Clearly.
A bit of ash.
A bit of the ashes.
A bit of the ashes are flying there?
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds like something like, okay, yeah, terrifying. But is the perfect time to move along. You are staying locked in studio with us. That was Pluto for all of those who are hoping to, find a different planet. But now we move along. Staying on this planet, and the news that you missed while scanning the headlines, that would be the phenomenal Ami Kaufman, who knows more about Pluto than I do. But what did we miss in the news?
Okay, we're going to go to the States where there's another shooting at another military base. We've already heard of a few of these. This is in Chattanooga, Tennessee. A man named Muhammad Yusuf Abdulaziz, a 24-year-old carrying an AK-47. First, he went to a strip mall in Chattanooga and shot at a recruiting center at that strip mall. But no one was killed there. He then took his Ford Mustang, a rented Ford Mustang, drove 7 miles to a naval base and killed 4 Marines there. Right now, the U.S. authorities are treating this as a terrorist act. They don't know the motives right now, but they're treating it as a terrorist act. Everybody that he grew up in the neighborhood, everybody said he was a great kid, very intelligent. He was born in Kuwait, has a Jordanian citizenship.
The frightening thing about this is, well, two things, obviously, is that, the availability of guns, yet again, we can chew this subject over and over again, but if you are living in the United States, if you go crazy, or if you're a terrorist, or if you're just, it doesn't matter, you will get a gun.
Definitely.
Yeah, but, sadly, as you said, I think it's very important to mention, we still don't know if this was, a terror-motivated attack, but again...
And army bases are a target, which is
exactly.
over and over again. ISIS is really stepping it up. This is the first time that ISIS has attacked on water, apparently. ISIS attacked an Egyptian Navy boat just off the coast of Rafah, on Palestinian Rafah.
Yes.
And they claimed responsibility for the attack. They even put some pictures up on Twitter showing a missile actually going towards the boat. The Egyptian Navy is saying that it wasn't a missile; it was just a fire that was on the boat. But they do say that there was some sort of skirmish with ISIS fighters in that area.
But there is footage of the missile actually going all the way.
I've seen it on Twitter. It looks a bit strange. It looks kind of like a missile, but I'm not sure exactly what it was. So I'm not going to say that.
No, and then the sad and terrifying thing is that, it goes back to the story that we have been covering over the course of the last several weeks, and that is the Sinai and its volatility, because all of this is happening in and around that area.
Oh, yeah.
And ISIS-affiliated groups fighting with Egyptian forces. Now, this is also taken to sea, supposedly, again, as is the case with ISIS, the propaganda war of any side, be it their side or the one that they're fighting, is one that's hard to decipher. But yeah,
the Egyptian the Air Force is bombing Sinai on a daily basis. This is like a war inside its own country. It's
that's going on daily. Very good that you mentioned it that way. Yeah. Definitely, yes.
Back to the North America, I should say, Mexico. This is, remember the prison break in New York a few weeks ago?
Yes.
This is much more amazing.
Okay.
El Chapo Joaquin Guzman is the leader of the biggest drug cartel in North America. Escaped a few days ago from his cell. There's been some crazy footage coming out from there. Looks like this time he might have actually used a bird or a few birds to test the air quality in the tunnel that he used to escape. We have a really good report. Let's check it out.
Please.
This morning, new eye-opening surveillance videos capturing the crucial moments before Joaquin El Chapo Guzman escapes from that maximum security prison. Watch as he paces back and forth before taking off the tracking bracelet, monitoring his every move. He walks to his shower area, ducks behind the wall, bends down, and vanishes. El Chapo, sporting a full head of hair and a mustache, successfully dodging 2 surveillance cameras, one mounted outside his cell's entrance, the other a closed-circuit lens inside.
Destaco además.
Mexican officials conceding the dangerous and infamous drug lord exploited that obvious blind spot, his shower stall, deliberately set up to protect the inmate's privacy. And something else, look, there even appears to be an electronic device, maybe an iPad or iPhone next to his bed.
All right, we're inside the El Chapo tunnel.
And now, for the first time, we're personally seeing up close the inside of that tunnel.
But as you can see, you've got electricity in here. He had lights that would have led all the way down through that tunnel, powered by this generator here.
The Mexican government taking ABC News through the now notorious tunnel, running nearly a full mile underground, from the shower in El Chapo's prison cell all the way to a half-built house used to hide an estimated 379 truckloads of dirt pulled out of the ground to make that tunnel.
And you can see there's an electric pulley system here to pull things out.
And down below, another hole 30 feet deep that officials say leads right to a deeper part of that tunnel. Look closely, you can see rails. Authorities finding this modified motorcycle down below as well.
This must have been in the works for a long time.
Inside the underground chamber, we walk up the stairs he would have used to escape.
And here it is. This is the house where he just walked into and disappeared.
There's the Great Escape, and then there's that.
There's that. The man had a motorcycle on tracks to get out of a mile-long tunnel.
How big is this guy in the crime world? Because this is, I mean,
first of all,
he's got an army built that.
He's huge. He's huge, but he's also called El Chapo, means the shorty. He's short, which is why the tunnel was actually.
This is the dwarf show. It's the dwarf show. Yeah, I mean, I keep saying small people.
By the way, how does Donald Trump get into this story?
How does Donald?
He does get into this story.
Please,
Donald Trump never misses, of course, an opportunity to bash the Mexican people, the Mexican government. So he went onto Twitter, onto this little Twitter rage a few days after El Chapo was escaped. And let's see a few of his tweets. These are the tweets.
Yes, please.
El Chapo and the Mexican drug cartels used the border unimpeded like it was a vacuum cleaner, sucking drugs and death right into the U.S. The joke around town. The joke around town is that I freed El Chapo from the Mexican prison because the timing was so good with my statements on border security. Now, what happened later? There was a response from
What is this man smoking? Yeah, okay.
There was a response from an unofficial El Chapo Twitter handle who has millions of followers. It is apparently run by his son, and Mexicans think that it's actually a real response to Donald Trump. And he said, "Keep F-wording around, and I'm going to make you eat your F-wording words." Donald Trump got really scared about this, and he called the FBI, and he wants heightened, he wants security
Because clearly Americans don't take care enough of the border. Wow.
Isn't that amazing how Donald Trump gets into every story now?
No, it gets into every story, and I have to say, at the end of the day, Will B. Benson probably is going to be, more of a front runner that we thought in this presidential race because of things like this.
He's leading the polls, by the way, in a few places.
That's what I mean.
Leading the national polls.
Quick one. Yes, one more last one really quick.
George Bush, 91, broke his neck. He's 91 years old, but everything is okay. He's in a wheelchair. He's just going to have a brace neck, but he's been hospitalized quite a few times in the last few months.
91. I think that is what comes out to me from that headline. 91.
91.
Wow.
Yes.
There we go. Okay.
But apparently he's fine.
Yeah, and Trump is no George Bush. But do stay with us. When we get back, it is that fabulous moment in the week when we take a look at the politicians' Instagram, and what a week that was. First now, though, the news. I-24 News Morning Edition on this. I never asked you that, Ami. On this July 17th.
I can't believe you forgot that.
It is July 17th, and I actually, it's July 17th, 2015. There is an Iranian deal, but who cares? It's Friday. So it is the time for the web review that is the spiral viral that is Ami Kaufman. Before we then lead up to the lovely Tal Shalev, it's the best part of this week. Take it away.
This is a fantastic hashtag.
Yay.
Hashtag Trump your cat. Trump your cat. What you do is you take a picture of your cat, you put a fake thing on his head.
How did you not tell me this in advance? I've got two.
You put like a quote of something that he said crazy or something. Which there's a lot.
Phenomenal.
Let's see some pictures that we have of people trumping their cats.
No, that's Trump your cat. That is.
Isn't that fantastic?
That's him.
That's
that is
Donald
exactly
Trump.
him.
That's Donald Trump.
Oh my
right
God,
there.
Trump your cat.
I like this one. This is kind of feminine. I don't know. It looks a little.
Maybe it's the purple. I have to tell you though, I am definitely going home today and trumping my cat.
You're going to hashtag it?
Something about animal abuse and doing
I was about to say this is almost perfect. Look, best one yet.
Perfect. You mean PURR?
No. Ka-ching. Wow. Wow, okay, yes, I'm trumping my cat.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm waiting for that.
Please.
We like these things from BuzzFeed when they have the word dictionary things. Okay,
yes,
here's another one. Here's another one where these are 18 perfect words you need to know. I'm going to show you just a few of them. This one is Borgasm from the headline. Borgasm is peak boredom, a climax of disinterest. Let's see some more.
I have so much to say about Borgasms right now. Yes.
I don't know, but my favorite word in the previous batch was ambitious.
Ambitious, exactly. Okay.
Here we have déjà brew. slowly remembering things you did while drunk.
Wow,
That's
wait,
good.
stop. Very, very good.
Yeah.
I think Tal and I can relate. Yes.
You're not
You
the
wake
only-
up in the morning, okay, let's go back and see exactly what happened.
This is a word that already exists in Hebrew, but it's called Nexter. It's the day after tomorrow. We already have this.
Because we're smarter than anyone in the world.
Yeah, don't they say that about
Nexter
Jews?
Day.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's where you work.
It's where the
The neighborhood.
neighborhood.
You don't like it? Oh,
Yeah,
come on.
the neighborhood. No, it's good. It's the neighborhood.
Yeah.
No, it is. It's true because that's very actually New York keys.
Maybe you'll like this one though.
Yes.
Sexorcism. Sexorcism is sleeping with someone new to get over an ex. I think that's good.
good.
It's good. That's good. And
I'm
this
sorry,
is when,
how many, should we open the subject to how many sexorcisms we've had in it?
No, not really.
No.
Yeah.
Okay,
okay, we started. You already
No,
opened it up.
no, okay, yes.
All right, I can tell you this one, but I've had these mantrams.
Mantrams?
It's a childish rage displayed by a grown man when he doesn't get his way.
No, just
Oh,
no comment.
yes. Yes, I live with one. Yes, the
daily
mantrams, the
mantram.
mantrams. You never really get over the 2-year-old phase,
No,
guys,
it's
right?
always inside
it's
there.
Inside,
Sometimes
it's
it just
lurking inside.
comes out.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, this is a nice, it's amazing video from Cape Cod in Massachusetts, where a great white shark was beached on the shore, and people tried to help it from to stop dying. Basically,
So
see the
it's
video.
actually, this is actually, I can't believe it's a
see the
Sharks
video.
Feel Good movie. We have to see this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Any ETA when you take a boat, get in there? You just
They actually towed him back to the water, and then he just swam
I
away.
know, because there was a moment of depression there for a second.
Yeah, no,
I was like, are we showing this to depress the audience? Yeah. Okay, Ed.
Did you know that there's going to be a movie about the first date that Michelle Obama and Barack Obama had? It's called South Side with You, and we're going to see some first pictures. Look at these guys. These are Parker.
Because you don't see this now, but Tal should have had the expression that went through my head, and my first question was, why?
Their names are Parker Sawyers and Tika Sumter. The movie is called South Side with You. It's going to tell about the first date. It's a romantic dramedy. That's what they call it, romantic dramedy, inspired by the president and first lady's first date to see Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing in 1989. And the date on a summer afternoon evening also included a trip to the Art Institute of Chicago and the couple's first kiss outside an ice cream parlor.
The whole movie is about one date?
Thank you.
That's what I'm asking.
Thank you. No, that's the first one. Yes.
How do you do that? Like a whole, it's like
one. Yeah, well, if the date was like 3 hours, then you just basically cut it into half and have a 1 hour
But
movie.
it's a perfect, I want to tell you though, it's the perfect opportunity because you know when you're like on a date and you want to skip out and you don't know what to do? Here you can, if you're the audience.
Right,
you can actually, I'm just going to go to the bathroom, fine, I'm never going to see you again. Okay, yes.
I love this video. This is coming from the northwest coast of Spain. Two tourists from Germany put their GoPro on a wall and take a picture of a seagull. The seagull had some different ideas.
Okay, let's take a look.
Hey, hey! Scheiß Viecher!
I love it. Yes, amen. Good for the seagull.
Did you hear the Germans yelling, Scheiße?
Yeah, the Scheiße, 9. Okay,
And you know, Kim Kardashian was on the cover of
what cover was she? Yeah, exactly. Which
on
one was she not
Rolling
on?
Stone. And as you can see from this headline from The Independent, Sinead O'Connor did not like this at all. She says that music is officially dead. You know, and here let's see the Facebook post that she put up. It's pretty harsh language. What is this? She used the C word. I'm not going to say it. What is this C word doing on the cover of Rolling Stone? Music has officially died.
Yes.
Who knew it would be Rolling Stone that murdered it?
Wow.
Pretty tough words
I mean,
from
listen,
Sinead
Sinead O'Connor has a tendency to upset, you know, in a very strong way. I don't think she and the Pope are speaking since 1992.
Since she tore that picture.
Exactly.
Right?
But I don't entirely disagree.
With all due respect to Sinead O'Connor, isn't she like a one-hit wonder? She has one song, she tore the picture of the Pope, and that's all people remember.
And that's all people remember. That's true. That's true.
She had no hair.
And she has no hair?
Yeah.
Women without hair, yes. And
lastly, you have there's a hotel in Peru where you sleep in these pods that are on cliffs 400 feet above the ground. Let's see some video from it.
Please, yes, where we're not.
I don't know if you want to check
the videos. Sleep in a cliff-hanging.
Sleep on a cliff-hanging. You have to climb up there. You have to climb up there with ropes and stuff.
And we have video of this?
Yeah, we have video of this.
Yes, let's take a look.
Cliffs.
I mean, nothing spells.
That is a perfect
sexorcism on a cliff.
Yeah. And in the morning, have a mantra.
Good answer for a mantra, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. In the morning, wake up with a mantra.
Nice. Okay, listen, that was the fabulous viral spiral that was the rub review, but I don't think it can match anything and everything that is the Instagram.
I do not even think
Take it away, yes, please.
So we're gonna start with, of course, the thing we've been talking about all week, and maybe after this we can stop talking about it for a few days. Don't count on it.
Yes.
Don't count on it.
I hope so.
But the Iran deal, of course. How did it look on Instagram? So we had, fortunately, many of the lead actors in this play, like Mohammad Javad Zarif, and his very well-known smile. So Zarif, of course, was, they were very good with campaigning, how good they're doing in negotiations, especially in the final stretch. So this is about a day or 2 days before the deal was signed, and you can see how happy is the Iranian delegation was basically celebrating for 2 days even before the deal was signed.
People in Tehran were celebrating before it was signed, and I think that's,
The President Obama, courtesy of our one and only Pete Souza, official photographer in the White House, President Obama speaking on the phone with U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, thanking him on the deal. Later on, he speaks with his I really like this picture, with his national security staff. Look at Susan Rice, how she's looking at him.
Yeah.
Look at the gesture. So that's a very cool picture. The next picture is not on Instagram, it's on Twitter.
I have to say that picture is, Obama has created a White House of a semi-Camelot. It's so reminiscent of the JFK days. When you look at these pictures, there's something new and about these. Okay, yes.
This picture is not on Instagram, but it's worth noting just so we can mark V on our, mark across on our feminism today. Mogherini, Wendy Sherman, and Helga Schmidt, who is Mogherini's deputy.
Right.
Girl power. These are three very crucial women in these talks. And if I might add, as a diplomatic correspondent, feminine diplomat role models. And I just wanted to note...
and they've said many times in the past, and I'm saying this sitting, in the Middle East, specifically Israel, that if you put women at the helm of international negotiations, that things will happen. And irrespective of what you think of the deal, things happen.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's the women in this case, but but we can go with that theory. I don't mind.
Exactly.
So this is Ali Abbas Araghchi, the deputy chief negotiator. He's with a photo of Zarif. Zarif signing. Then we have a photo of Obama and Biden after selling the historic deal. Just noting that Obama has really brought Biden close to him after the tragedy. Yeah. And it's really nice to see. I think there's something very heartwarming about it. Yeah. He's there all the time. They're together. And they're really good friends. We talked about it.
To me, it was interesting, just because you mentioned that he also had him standing behind him when he was giving that speech as after the deal was signed. Although Biden is the one also in Congress that will help sell the deal, that's why he was there. But the connection, very much so. Yes.
So, and in Iran, of course, Hassan Rouhani, the big winner. This was his the counter speech that was given at the same time that the president was giving his speech, and the day after, look at the smile.
Wow.
And in a sharp contrast to all of this, what did the Israeli Prime Minister post? Let's see the video he posted on Instagram this week.
Let's have a look at the video.
The world is a much more dangerous place today than it was yesterday. What a stunning, historic mistake. The world is a much more dangerous place today than it was yesterday. What a stunning, historic mistake.
No, but it goes back to what we said earlier in the show, Tal, that he is... I'm almost thinking, if I were a strategist for Prime Minister Netanyahu, I would say, wait 3 weeks. Don't come out and shine like that, because you've got all these smiling pictures of world leaders and one man wagging his finger, and it doesn't look good. I mean, it doesn't look good.
I agree.
Okay.
But we'll move to other important things that happened this week in the White House. Michelle Obama, the First Lady, she's on a mission to encourage healthy eating habits. So she's not only talking about eating healthy, but cooking healthy as well. So she has this annual Healthy Lunchtime Challenge, in which she invites kids to craft healthy recipes. 1,000 children entered the race. We can just scroll through the photos. 55 winners got a chance to participate in the White House State Dinner, which was actually a launch. And the winner was a taco served with baracamole.
Oh, come on. Baracamole.
President Barack also made a surprise appearance, but I think the highlight of this whole issue, this whole event, was a performance by the cast of Broadway Aladdin, which Michelle kindly posted on her Facebook page.
She did? Oh!
Let's see.
Okay, let's have a look.
We're at the White House. Our wish is granted. We're at the White House. Our wish is granted.
Okay, for the record, I want to say I would not eat a broccoli taco, but that's just me. Yes.
Moving on to Ami's favorite, Donald Trump.
It's the Trump show. Yes.
Let's see. I think we don't need to say anything.
No words. Let's see.
Let's see.
Yes.
I would love to see Trump. This guy who talks to the Republican gut on ISIS, on illegal immigrants, on Obama, and politicians, period. Could he leave the rest of them lying on the street?
Hey, it's not going away.
He's not going away.
He's not going away. But to quote Jon Stewart, thank you, God.
Did you see that, by the way, his slogan is Make America Great Again?
Yeah.
That was actually Ronald Reagan's slogan. He said it was called Let's Make America Great Again. And when Donald Trump was asked that, he said, well, I took away the let's. It's different.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys know. This will be interesting, and I want to warn if there are any children watching us now, this might not be the most suitable thing.
This is rated R?
Yeah, basically rated R. Do you know who Dan Bilzerian is?
Of course. I follow him on Instagram.
So, do you know that he launched his presidential campaign? Let's see if you don't know who he is. You can see his video and decide if you want to vote for him.
Okay, Dan Bilzerian. Let's take a look.
Okay. He's called the king of Instagram, Dan Bilzerian. He's a professional poker player, 34 years old. He's actually only going to be 35 in December, so he's like only slightly qualifying to run for president.
He's on the bridge.
I don't know how much he'll be talking about, foreign policy and Obamacare. He will be talking a lot about boobs and babes.
And babes, and I bet you that our millions of Americans are saying, who cares?
Exactly, exactly. Dan Bilzerian presidential campaign tour is probably competing with Donald Trump with how grotesque something can be.
And he's running as a Republican? He's running as what? As an independent?
We don't really know what he thinks about anything besides boobs and guns. He likes guns, so I can assume he...
Wait, he was sitting in a turtle before there. Yeah! With holding a...
something.
That's a machine gun.
Yeah.
He is on a turtle with a machine gun. He's got my vote. The turtle is kind of... I'm sorry. Come on. Ami,
I love it. I'd vote for him.
I'd vote for him, exactly.
Yeah,
I'd vote
definitely.
For him.
He has my vote.
Well, yeah. Okay, Bilzerian versus Trump. Okay. Jeb Bush can just retire
we have 40
now, right?
seconds left, so Bilzerian, I have a feeling the teleshow will bring us a lot more of him.
No, it's the last time I'm going to show those boobs. I had a real problem, even just deciding that it's good, that it's suitable.
But Bilzerian running for president, we're going to leave you with that. And now, the best that week that was on the morning edition. Stay with us, because it's the best of the week. And of course, tune in on Monday morning to start your week with the morning edition on I-24 News.